So, I'll with you.
Legislation to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There, yeah, I think so.
Did it, Mitch?
Well, I don't think he did.
Matt, you remember how you fixed it? Oh, you got it.
Up on it.
Hey,
We good?
we had that problem last week.
All right. First on the agenda, the consent agenda. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes from last week?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. All right, at this time, Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Development, public hearing and first consideration of ordinance number 2024-03, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of Potawatomi County, Iowa by changing the district designation of approximately 2.9922 acres from a Class A3 riverfront and ag production to Class C2 general commercial district and setting date for second consideration. Entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Elvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Jorgensen.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
All right, we are now in public hearing. Matt, do you want to tee this up or do we?
I sure can. This is in relation to the rezoning of a parcel on Old Mormon Bridge Road in between Crescent and the interstate. The property owners had done a property line adjustment to prepare the property. What they would like to do for themselves is a fireworks stand, which is kind of irregardless to the subject of what the board would be considering today, because if you going through with the C2 general commercial district would allow any one of the uses within that C2 district to potentially be put there. That C2 district is a general commercial. So as we look at it, we have a major transportation route that runs in between there. It's a hard surface paved road. Crescent's land use already creeping out on that side of town is obviously very industrial, very commercial. In relation to that, we already have some industrial ground down there on the county side of it. So when the property owners came in and discussed that with us, that's what we did. We reviewed it back towards the land use plan of the county, looked at what the city of Crescent was doing, and feel like it makes sense for this area.
All right, and with that, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in favor of this zoning change? Is there anyone on the Zoom or the Teams call? Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak against this zoning change? Motion by Wickman, second by Shay to close the public hearing. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Jorgensen.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Wickman. Aye.
Is there a reason we couldn't do the variance on that thing for those folks?
You mean like a conditional use permit? No, the conditional use permit, I don't think it would have fallen within a conditional use within the A3 zoning district. This is more of a rezoning opportunity, I think, with the infrastructure that the county has there. It-
Have to, I guess, put in the record the letter we received then.
Yes, the letter that we received in opposition.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no building going on this, just a tent, correct?
To my knowledge right now,
Okay.
for what their plan is yes, it would just, it's a temporary fireworks stand that the property owners are hoping to do there. And they're actually going, to get into that detail of it, they're actually going to be renting that spot out. And it would be another vendor coming in to sell the fireworks, set up the tent and do those things there.
Would there be storage containers on that?
There could be temporarily. I mean, that wouldn't be something that could stay there
Just a
permanently.
seasonal deal?
Yeah,
And then if they wanted to build a building on there, they'd have to raise the ground, correct?
you would either have to elevate the ground 1 foot above base flood elevation, or you can do flood proofing, and not elevate. The majority of the people in our area do elevate the ground because we have available soils to do so, but flood proofing is an option.
Which would be what, a levee around it?
No, it could be, flood vents to where the water just flows through it.
Building.
Yeah, where everything is, all utilities and things like that are 1 foot above the base flood elevation. And so realistically, you construct a structure, if it floods, the water is allowed to flow straight through the building. Once the water hits a certain height, those vents open and just allow the water to flow through. When the flood is done, you're basically at a point where the property owner comes back in with a power washer. They power wash all the muck down, push it out, they're back open for business again,
Assuming how high the flood is.
assuming how high it is, yeah.
And they would still be required to buy flood insurance.
Well, the flood proofing goes along with their flood insurance, so it may allow them lower rates. But-
Mitigate, but they would still be required.
Yeah,
There was concern about traffic. They use that spot as a turnaround. And is there adequate parking for what they're doing?
we would make sure that there is through the
Okay.
site plan
Work
process,
hand in
yeah.
hand with them?
Mhm.
Okay.
But you're right, I drive that road quite frequently,
Yep.
living in that area, and a number of people miss their interstate change and come down there and do circle around, whether it's in their driveway or a little bit further down on Liberty or, whatever road that is that cuts around through there. So yeah, that road is just habitual U-turners. I mean, they come in, they miss their interstate interchange and they turn around. So,
You gotta finish your text.
yeah, it would be nice if the interstate changes were a little bit clearer for everyone,
Right.
but
Man, help me understand one thing about the fireworks. Is it fireworks can only be sold in Iowa for a certain time? I mean, dates in between, is that right?
correct, that's all governed by state law. They're allowed to,
So,
right.
They also have to secure a permit through the state.
And the state fire marshals comes down and inspects it before they're allowed to open.
There's 3 of them now. This would be the 3rd one in the Crescent area. Fireworks stand. So
It's quite popular.
with that, I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-03.
I'll second.
That's for the first reading, right?
Yeah.
First consideration, Brian.
Correct. And then we would like second consideration set for May 21st.
Matt, a couple of questions for you. We're rezoning the property there. What else will need to happen before this becomes a fireworks stand?
They'd still have to secure their state permit.
And then anything from us, they'll have to adequate parking.
They'll get a permit from us for a temporary establishment down there.
They mentioned that there was gonna be some storage in one of the buildings. Is that an issue?
No, they weren't talking about storage of fireworks. They have, it was the old Clark Farmstead, so they have several large agricultural buildings out there. I think if the opportunity arose, that they were like, if somebody wanted to park a camper in there for the winter, that they would rent that building out as a place for them to park it indoors.
That will be indoors.
Correct.
So this property then will all become commercial?
Not all of it. The homestead portion of it is still A3. This is an area of the county that we're seeing large interest in for, soon, I think it's gonna be something industrial is gonna be there. It's a major traffic corridor for the county. Rails right there, so has a lot of things going for it.
Questions for Matt?
Good.
We have a motion by Shay and a second by Jorgensen to approve the first consideration and set the second consideration for May 21st, 2024. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Belt,
Aye.
Wickman, Jorgensen.
Aye.
Right. Next, Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Zoning, Public Hearing, Discussion and/or Decision to approve and authorize board to sign resolution number 40-2024, declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.4 of the Code of Iowa and approve urban renewal plan and projects for the 2024 RMP Housing Urban Renewal Area. Motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Melvin, call the roll, please.
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman. Aye. Belt,
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Jorgensen.
Aye.
All right, we are now in public hearing.
This one is for the RMP housing development that is out just to the east of Cloverdale off of McPherson. Just to help everybody get their orientation on it.
Great, thank you. So was there anyone from the public who would like to speak in favor of this resolution and this housing urban renewal area, the RMP? All right, you want to come forward, and Melvin, can you grab the podium for him, please?
For Pioneer Trail and Council Bluffs. We're obviously here in favor to ask that you vote to approve this. I don't have too much additional to say unless you guys had any questions for us about the request.
What's the total number of houses?
There will be 12 total lots.
Okay. And there's one on there now.
There's one existing home on
Right.
lot 11,
Okay.
The lots are 1 acre,
2 acre lots.
2 acre.
I don't have any more questions.
Great. Road's in, everything's ready. We have one lot under contract. We're ready to get
Good.
building a home this summer. So
All right.
appreciate your
Good deal.
support.
Thank you, Mark.
Good.
Is there anyone else in favor of this project that would like to speak?
John Jerkins, 535 West Broadway, Suite 100, with a gimp leg. Anyway, I've developed a bent tree and cloverleaf in the past years, and I'm very much in support of this and need for additional housing in that area. So I appreciate your support, like Mark said, and I just wanted to, I did the adjoining subdivision and developed that. So I think it's an area where people like to go, and it's a interesting time in the market too. So I think 12 lot subdivision is a good
Oh, yeah.
size. So, any questions? Like Mark's here, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, John. Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak against this ordinance or this resolution? Right. Motion by Tim,
Second.
and by Belt to close the public hearing. Melvin, call the roll, please.
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Wickman. Aye. Belt. Jorgensen.
Aye.
You like to mix that up, don't you?
Matt,
Yeah.
what is the time frame on this for the duration of the urban renewal area?
I believe that doesn't the urban renewal area will span until to be the time period of the tip or until we remove it from there. I mean, I'd have to get clarification from Amy Dorsey on that.
Okay. It's just. We are establishing it today, right? There's no other,
Correct. There's no second consideration on this.
is there a time frame or a dollar amount? That's what I
So-
want to know.
What you're talking about is the next step on which today you have the draft developers agreement.
That's all we're doing today.
Right. So the draft developers agreement is where we get into the time frame of, you got this amount of time to start constructing houses out there. You got this amount of time to get your TIF funds back from it, and then a set amount in there of what the county is willing to go up to. So this one is a little different, remember, because the work was done ahead of time. We're on the back foot, coming back forward. Normally, we have the developers agreements and things, so we already have like kind of preset costs. We know what they paid for the road and the stormwater improvements and such. Instead of, usually they have estimates and the engineers' costs of what they expect it to be, but they don't have the actual costs.
So we'll be working on what the actual costs.
Right.
There'll be a time frame on it too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you have, I think you can get one extension where it's up to 15 years. But I
Otherwise
would,
it's 10, correct?
yeah, otherwise it's 10, but I would believe that this is gonna be, I mean, it's 12 homes or 11 homes that have to be constructed. I don't think they'll have any problem having those constructed within that time frame.
So the next step will be coming to us down the road.
May 28th, you have the draft developers agreement, which we're gonna discuss today, but then that would be actually set on the agenda on the 28th.
Have the ordinance for the TIF today.
Yeah, no.
First consideration.
First gonna.
Right, so at this time, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Resolution 40/2024.
Okay, motion by Shay, second by Jorgensen to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution number 40-2024 for the RMP Housing Urban Renewal Area. Additional discussion? Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Jim Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
And Jorgensen.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving now to Suzanne Watson, Director and CEO, Community Services, and Maria C., Public Health. Discussion and/or decision to approve and sign proclamation designating the month of May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Public Health partners with the Wellbeing Partners in the Regional Health Council, which is Douglas, Sarpy, and Cass County, their health departments in Nebraska, to work on our community health needs assessment and health improvement plan for the metro area. Suzanne and her team's been really integral to the whole process. So mental health was identified as the top priority for the 2021 Community Health Needs Assessment. We're currently undergoing the 2024 Needs Assessment. And if you'd like to give feedback on that, it's on our website for public health. So please do.
And I'll just add to that, mental health is defined as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes their own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to contribute to their community. As you know, our department within the Southwest Iowa Mental Health Disability Services region, we work with folks who struggle with severe and persistent mental illness. And so really our hope is to give people hope. Sometimes when we get in our darkest times, hope is what people need to really get on the road to recovery. We know that stigma for especially chronic mental health conditions has always been an issue. I've worked for the county for, I don't know, over 28 years, 30 years now. I think we've moved the needle a little bit on the stigma of mental health. I think we're slowly getting there. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to educate the public as far as prevention, things that our current drugs are doing to our youth, things with social media, all that kind of thing that we can help push forward. So we just hope we continue to work on the busting the stigma, as well as just being more open about being well, as far as just for the whole body, our brains, as well as other things, and then we can speak openly about it. So we're glad that you're taking this under consideration today. I would like a shout out to, I can see him in the camera. I've got 3 of my staff in the back. Miranda and Barb, both are service coordinators with the region and work directly with folks. And then Molly, on the end, is our person who tracks all of our data. And as you know, data is so extremely important to figuring out how we best serve individuals. So I just say thanks to them. They're the ones that do all the hard work.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate your work.
So the wellness committee has different activities planned for the month of May. This Thursday, we're inviting all county employees to wear green to show support for mental health awareness. Today and Thursday, Melvin, I forgot. And then on Thursday, we're also going to have an opportunity for people to stop in from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Borough Conference Room to grab some green snacks and green drinks and have some resources. And then on Wednesdays, mental health information is being pushed out on the internet to county employees, and then encouraged to walk 30 minutes a day for mental health. And then we're hoping to change the lighting outside of the courthouse to green.
You talked to Jason about that?
We have, he's waiting for the proclamation.
Motion to approve. I will second that.
Would you like me to read it?
Think so.
Perfect,
Go right ahead.
unless you want to.
No, you go right ahead.
Okay, I can do that. The 2024 Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas 1 in 5 American adults experience a mental health condition each year, and Mental Health Awareness Month is observed annually in May to increase understanding of mental health and its impact on individuals and communities. Whereas the Douglas County Health Department, Pottawatomie County Health Department, Sarpy-Cass Health Department, and the Wellbeing Partners form the Regional Health Council and are joined by area hospitals, health centers, and other nonprofit agencies to take a regional approach to mental health as prioritized and identified by the 2021 Community Health Assessment data and feedback from community members. Whereas the Southwest Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services Region collaborates with these agencies to fulfill its mission to provide a responsive and welcoming system of support for overall mental wellness. Whereas an estimated 44% of residents detained in jails are suffering from a mental illness, often with co-occurring substance use disorders. Whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the 2nd leading cause of death among young adults, and 90% of people who die by suicide have an underlying mental illness. Whereas Pottawatomie County, Iowa, and all counties serve as a safety net for residents in need. Whereas the Southwest Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services Region has developed community-based services and supports along with an array of crisis services which help people stay out of jail and the hospital by offering mental health treatment in the community. Whereas the Metro Region Partners and the local What Makes Us campaign to end mental health stigma pledge to increase awareness and understanding of mental health. Whereas reducing the stigma of mental health encourages people to ask for support and seek help when needed. Whereas we acknowledge the need for equitable, appropriate, and accessible mental health resources and pledge to amplify existing resources and increase connections. Whereas with treatment, those mental health conditions can recover and lead full and productive lives. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that the Pottawatomie County Board of Supervisors does hereby declare May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month and encourages all citizens, community agencies, organizations, businesses, and schools within Pottawatomie County to increase awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps that our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate, accessible services and support for all people with mental health conditions and their family members. Be it further proclaimed that the Pottawatomie County Board of Supervisors continues its commitment to partner with community organizations to ensure that all behavioral health and disability services are accessible, valuable, and culturally appropriate for all residents of Pottawatomie County, Iowa.
Dated May 14th, 2024. Melvin, call the roll, please.
Herman Miller.
Aye.
Supervisors Belt.
Right.
Wickman.
Aye.
Shay.
Yep.
Jorgensen.
Aye.
Excellent. Well done.
Thanks, Maria.
Would you guys mind if I snap a quick group photo for the,
Great.
Come forward.
And so we're talking, sign proclamation. We're gonna go.
No, you go ahead.
I do have green toenail polish. I forgot that. I chose it right here.
Thanks for your work, ladies.
Oh,
Really appreciate it.
absolutely. You are moving the
Yep.
needle.
we still need to get you a step stool, don't we, Supervisor Miller?
Come down front, Susan.
So did I. All right. Ready? Smile. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. How are you?
Dan or? Maria, you gonna take a proclamation?
Oh, do you want to, is it fine?
I can get it later. Yeah, I'll get it from Jeanette.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Brian.
Moving on. Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development, and Pam Kelstrup, Zoning and Land Use Coordinator. Discussion and or decision to approve first consideration of ordinance number 2024-04 entitled an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 2024 RMP Housing Urban Renewal Area pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa, first consideration, and to set date for second consideration. Go ahead, Matt.
Jumping back to item B real quick, just for Mr. Wickman's clarification, the urban renewal area is in effect until the Board of Supervisors repeals it. So it's
Until
on-
what?
Until the Board of Supervisors repeals it. That's on like page 3 of that document in there. So this is, will be our, the next step in that is to have the TIF ordinance in place. It's for the RMP housing, which, again, it's out on McPherson, just to the east of Cloverdale, Cloverleaf. Whichever one is there, so.
You're saying that the TIF, area has been.
Urban renewal area.
Oh, urban renewal. Okay. When do we want second consideration?
May 21st, please.
Make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Belt and a second by Shay to approve the first consideration of ordinance number 2024-04 with the second consideration date set for May 21st, 2024. Is there additional discussion?
I'll hold mine off until we get to 41.
Okay. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller.
Aye.
Supervisors Jorgensen.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
Wickman.
Moving to the next, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Zoning, discussion and or decision to approve and authorize board to sign resolution number 41-2024, setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with RMP 87 Development, LLC, including tax increment payments. Matt, do you have additional explanation for this resolution?
So this is the resolution just, I think more or less certifying to the developer that the board is going to sign into a development agreement with them. And we set the date for that, so public hearing will be available. Like I said, now we are in the back and forth really on the development agreement. And we would like that meeting to be set for May 28th on this one. They sent it over to us. We got our initial draft of it there last week. There are some corrections that we'll send back to the attorneys on there. But and we'll go back and forth, I'm sure, a little bit on the dates and amounts, what they're getting reimbursed for. But then that will all be okay through the Board of Supervisors.
The amounts are the county improvements, public improvements.
Right. Only public improvements.
We know what those are pretty much, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Matt, in here, I was kind of looking for this in every document, but it says that the county agrees to make 22 semi-annual payments. That's 11 years. If I'm doing my math right?
Mhm.
Okay. So that's the length of the urban renewal. It's 11 years.
No, the urban renewal area will stay in effect after the TIF goes. So at the end of the payments of the TIF, if the Board of Supervisors wants to close out the urban renewal area, then we would come back and we would repeal that urban renewal area. The TIF has a timeline on it of that set by state code, right? Where it's 11 years for housing, up to 20 for industrial. You can get one extension on them, but you can't go over that. So the clock, and you'll see, we've talked about these before, where developers have come in and they wanted to phase it. So they'll start their initial phase one, but even this TIF has a 20-year clock on it. You can't go past that 20-year clock. You're only going to get 10 years of payments back for housing. If it's an industrial, you get longer time to try to collect some of those funds back. But ultimately, everything has to be done within that 20-year clock.
Or less if the money is paid to equal what.
Correct. Yeah, and that will be the majority of our TIFs that we do, because we agree to we agree to that amount ahead of time, are paid out before the time period and close out previous to that, especially the ones that we have these joint agreements on with the city of Council Bluffs. You know, the city's pretty strict with us on setting, you know, they cap us off. You can only collect this amount of TIF and then it has to be done. So.
We'll know what that amount is by the end of the month.
Correct.
And it's 11 years instead of 10. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then you get that extension on it.
Show me in here where I really don't think that this is going to be an issue at all, because I firmly believe that'll be developed in no time.
Mm-hmm.
But show me is there anything in here that binds the developer to have so many houses built in a certain period of time?
There's not, but that is their caveat to that, right? Is if you don't build houses, if you don't sell lots and you don't build houses, you don't generate TIF funds to get paid back. So a lot of them will go in there and they'll give you, they'll sell a lot and they'll say either you got a year, 18 months to start construction of a home, because they need those houses built in order to get paid back. They can't sit there on the lots. That's their incentive. And especially with one like this, where you have a very small amount of lots and you're asking for those funds, you need to get those houses done as fast as you can if you want to even be close to being able to reach that amount of reimbursement back.
That starts with the first house.
Starts with the first house, yeah.
Can they delay the certification of the TIF?
I don't think that would benefit anything.
Okay,
Once the first,
just a question I
not
had.
when you issue it, after you issue the first permit, right?
Right, yeah. And they want those, your property already has value on it. That base value is already set. So they need to get going building houses to get, because we're always gonna get our base value back. Schools always get it, we'll always get it. But then the TIF portion of it is everything after that, that they'll be able to reimburse back if they get the houses built. But if that property value doesn't increase and that tax base doesn't increase, then they don't get anything back.
Penny has set the value of the parcels already.
No, I don't believe so, 'cause the final plat's not. Yeah.
I think so. Good.
I'm thinking about how to ask this question to John. In some of the previous agreements that Heartland Properties has done, the developer signed an agreement to cover the cost of the TIF if the houses weren't built. Like,
Tim, that was in the case, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the case of the water line we did, the 5 mile water line that I worked with you on and the board back in 01 or 02. We spent a couple million extending the water from around Forest Glen all the way through the airport down to Bentry. Mr. McCarthy and I signed a guarantee on, because that water line was paid for, by the county, and we guaranteed it. There was no, but on this, the burden of proof on this is the TIF. Unless you build houses, there is no TIF. And so ours was for a infrastructure extension, the only time that we did the guarantee. And it was, but we've never done a guarantee within subdivision, because if you don't build, you don't get anything. So really the burden is on Wayne to get the houses sold and collect a TIF, or there is no TIF collection. So you got a base and you're protected, and it's just and he gets the TIF back if he performs. It's a performance deal. It's pretty common. But I think you were thinking on a different deal, because that was a big undertaking, which created a lot of development.
In that case too, the county fronted the cost of that extension. In this case, Mr. Peterson has paid for the improvements out of pocket. So the TIF provides him an opportunity for reimbursement on that expense. If he fails to develop the location, then he gets no reimbursement and that money's gone. And then to just calm some of your other concerns on dates, the current draft obligates him to have the first home built by December 31st of 2025. Our covenants require the lot purchasers to commence construction within 12 months. So all those timelines are going to fall into place. As I mentioned earlier, already have one lot under contract. They hope to start construction this summer. So and then clock ticks. We have to certify in October of 2026 for the first period. So those dates are in the development agreement.
thanks for that, John. I don't have any more.
I'm good.
Entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I will make motion for 41/20/24.
I'll say,
Motion by Shay and a second by Jorgensen to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution number 41-2024. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman. Aye. Shay
Aye.
and Jorgensen.
aye.
Thank you. Matt Wyan again, Director of Planning and Development, and Pam Kalstrop, Zoning and Land Use Coordinator. Discussion and/or decision to approve final plat of Cedar Woods Edition, a subdivision situated in Lewis Township, and to sign planning and zoning resolution number 2024-03. And this is for the property that we had the public hearing for on April 16th, and no one spoke out against it.
Correct. This is a minor subdivision created by the code changes that we did in 2015 to allow for these. It's one lot right now. They're doing one more lot, I believe, in this one that's a family that's going to build on the separate lot that they're creating on this. So it's a good opportunity.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-03.
Second.
We have a motion by Shane, a second by Belt to authorize resolution number 2024-03. Is there additional discussion?
No, there's no time frames on this, so these folks don't have no,
That was where his son was gonna build behind him.
right, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying there's no time frame for them to do that.
Seems like a common name, Cedar Woods, that was run by Linda, correct?
I think you asked that last time too, yeah.
You signed the.
Did I,
approved
did
it.
I sign it? Okay,
Mhm.
I signed a lot of stuff.
Good question. Additional discussion?
Good.
Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
All right,
Wickman.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
And Jorgensen.
Aye.
One more. Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Development, and Pam Calthrop, Zoning and Land Use Coordinator, discussion and or decision to approve the final plat of, I said it wrong last time, Leanan subdivision, a subdivision situated in Lewis Township, and to sign planning and zoning resolution number 2024-04.
It's another minor subdivision. It was one, 214th Street.
Yes.
214th Street, just north of Highway 92. Splitting off the house from the parcel and then gonna have this one. I believe they hadn't made up their mind yet whether they're gonna put it up for sale or build a home on it and then sell their house that they're in right now, but
both of these, we should have probably asked on the last one, both of these got their own access or they share access?
Both of them have their own, but they were already existing
Yeah, okay.
at the time of plating. If they're not existing, then we prefer that they share them, or the
Yeah.
planning and zoning commission.
Good. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-04.
Motion by Shay and a second by Wickman to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution number 2024-04. Additional discussion? Melvin, please call the roll.
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
All right,
Wickman.
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
And Jorgensen.
Aye.
Melvin? All right. Matt, you're still up. Matt Wyatt and Pam Calstrup, discussion and or decision to approve final plat of RMP 87 Development LLC, a subdivision situated in Hardin Township, and to sign planning and zoning resolution number 2024-05.
I'll second that.
Motion by Wickman, a second by Shay.
I would like to just mention on this one, to give a special thank you to Pam and John Rasmussen for getting us to the point on this development. So there was a lot of things that they went back and forth on, a lot of inspections and engineer talk. You know, John went above and beyond to make sure that the county was getting what we needed to get for acceptance of the roads and stormwater improvements. And Pam has done a lot to make sure that we get the paperwork all straight on this one, so.
Thank you, Pam.
See a lot of,
Thank you very much for calling.
so just final.
Mark Enright, what lot has the house on it?
11.
How is lot 12 accessed?
Off McPherson.
But it's considered part of the subdivision.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's up, okay. Okay. Let's call the second.
we have a motion by Wickman and a second by Shay. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
All right,
Wickman. Shay.
Aye.
And Jorgensen.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You about done, Matt?
What's that?
What'd you do? Save them all up or something?
No, I think,
Busy time of year.
Yeah.
I want to thank the county. Pam's great to work with, so it's not.
Yeah.
Been working with the county since 1988, so good. all you guys.
How long ago were you?
Long time.
Yeah,
You guys,
thank you very much.
bye now.
And as everybody knows, the county is currently operating under the disaster declaration as of April 26th, as revised on May 5th. And we have Doug Reed in attendance today. Doug, would you like to give us an update?
The biggest stuff that we're kind of dealing with right now is really on the federal declaration side for individual assistance. So all the paperwork and our assessments that we did locally, in all the data we provided at a site validation visit at FEMA Small Business Administration last week that we communicated to you about. Things went well during that visit, so it cleared region. Its request, the governor's request, is cleared FEMA headquarters. And last update that I sent out this morning to you all also was that we're just waiting for final approval and president's signature. If that happens, then we'll have the FEMA Individual Assistance Program authorized, which provides further assistance opportunities for homeowners, renters, those kind of things. It also opens up the full spectrum of Small Business Administration disaster programs, which I imagine, especially for businesses that have been impacted, but also a lot of our residential owners that may be uninsured or underinsured and would be facing having to pay for things out of pocket anyway, could take advantage of some of the Small Business Administration disaster loan programs, which, going rate for interest rates right now commercially are up there, nice and good, but through the SBA, I believe it's somewhere around 2%. So that can help them find a huge cost savings, whether it might be underinsured and things like that. So we're just eagerly awaiting that. I was hoping that we'd hear something by close of business yesterday, but that didn't happen. So we'll see what today brings.
On the federal declaration?
Yeah, for the individual assistance. Also have a recovery specialist in town as well right now, helping to start gather information from the public sector side as far as response cost, infrastructure damages, to county or municipal property, those kind of things. So we're starting to gather up that information. Again, like we mentioned way up front, that side of the FEMA declaration program called public assistance for the government sector and certain qualifying nonprofits is going to be probably a tough road to haul to get that turned on and meet the thresholds that we have to do. So there's a county per capita threshold we have to hit, and then there's a statewide threshold to be able to activate that program. So the governor at least wants to get to the point where she can see some as best data as she can see before she makes a final determination on whether she's going to request a declaration to turn that program on from the presidential side. Outside of that, debris removal in Minden is going real well. If you haven't had a chance to go up there, the town looks a lot different than the last time most of you were there. They're making really good progress. They were ready first thing this morning to haul out another 7 truckloads. And they're not small trucks, that's for sure. So that'll be working. They anticipate being done with the debris removal operation next week. The temporary water treatment plant is up and operational, and they're off of their connection to rural water as a backup for the water tower right now. So, constantly looking at that and making adjustments in the system, as needed. And we've got some backup generation to that and to some other infrastructure through some equipment provided by Hy-Vee Disaster Services and a office kind of workspace down there to monitor the system and do the things that they need to do, managing that temporary water plant. So a lot of moving parts going on. We've had a couple of the volunteer teams demobilize. Some of them were redeployed to either Texas or Oklahoma for their recent events. Still have a couple groups out there operating right now with more work on private property being scheduled by them and their assessors going around trying to make contact with those that haven't, made contact one way or the other, either externally to internal or vice versa. So, tonight, not really tonight, but 4 PM, we'll open up another multi-agency resource center, until 7 o'clock up at the, Mount Crescent ski area. So thanks to conservation for giving us that space. It's going to be a good place. We've got some more folks coming into that as well. We've got workforce development coming into this particular mark with their mobile resource center. So they'll have a big old vehicle out there that they can talk to people that maybe who they worked for, their business was damaged or something like that. And they don't have access to work right now, or they need some temporary assistance type of deal until that gets figured out. So they'll be there to deal with that. And then they'll also be moving after tonight to in Minden Wednesday to be there directly, where they've had several businesses impacted that are kind of just shut down right now. And for this particular resource center, we've opened up access to any folks in Harrison County and Shelby County just because of the ease and proximity. And their numbers of impact are a lot less. So it's to try and get all these groups to go, every place there might have been some damages isn't always practical. So we've worked with their county emergency managers who've been advertising up there that they can come down here and take benefit of this. And so right now we're just kind of starting to, ease a little further into that intermediate recovery phase. And pretty soon I imagine in the next week, you all see invitation with a lot of other groups too, to come into the Emergency Operations Center for a coordination meeting on some long-term recovery issues that are probably going to be significant in some of our areas. So we need to kind of see who's got what, who's who in the zoo, kind of get make sure that we're all lockstep on the communications and coordination plan to go through that. And so I believe we still have also goods, if you will, donation centers that are still operating. You guys still have stuff at City Hall, or you still?
Yeah, we've actually did most of that coordination through Neola and
Okay.
pushing them because we only had the 3 to 4
Gotcha.
right outside. So they're getting more help and
Yeah, so
Kudos,
they've
you
been
know.
up there and a lot of that stuff's been going. So we still got that open. We still kind of got a standing mark, if you will, here in Council Bluffs for the folks that were impacted in the West End. It's been doing some good work and helping a lot of people that were impacted. And we've actually been able to work with the Weather Service and the final determination that the tornado that that started, or at least went up through that Crescent Hunting Creek area, actually started at 35th and Broadway here in town before it picked up, crossed the river, hit the airport, picked up a little bit, and then dropped back down on our side of the river. So there certainly was a need. So there's a lot of folks doing a lot of good work out there right now. Yeah.
Do you know much about the FEMA deal? Is there a cap on household income for the $5,000?
No, their focus, their target for assistance is really those that are non-insured or underinsured. And so that can look different things, right? And I'll just give a, kind of an example. My sister lives in Bennington, and their house was hit by a tornado. They had some pretty decent damage, and, needed the structural engineer and all that stuff. And insurance right now is looking like right now they're only going to cover maybe 50-60% of what they're getting, estimates on. You always got things like they have a composite deck, but they're kind of, maybe given repair from green treated lumber and stuff like that, so that's always the dance that you got to dance during these things. But if they wanted to, they'll still be eligible, even though, they're certainly not at that kind of standard 200% of the poverty level kind of target, financial needs assistance, but they'll still be eligible to apply for FEMA assistance. Or even, and probably more than likely, take advantage of the SBA disaster loan program to at least save a bunch of cost and interest, for what they have to pay out of pocket to fill that gap. So So those are kind of things, there's a lot of moving parts with those programs, and they really kind of look at it case by case. There's not really you gotta be this percent of the poverty level or you're just out kind of a deal.
Got one more question. Is there any talk of the commercial district? What rebuilding's back? It may be too early, but
Well, actually, this has been kind of something I've discussed with the mayor and with folks, in the business area in Minden, the last couple of days. Actually, we started talking about it on Sunday. And, there's some businesses that are like, we're ready to go. We need to order our building kind of a deal. And I'm like, well, let's just hang on because you're going to have an out-of-pocket expense, right? Insurance won't cover absolutely everything. So we just need to make sure that we don't, get the cart ahead of the horse before we hear about, the SBA declaration, especially that's what's going to help the commercial folks out a lot, right? With being able to rebuild their business at 2%, for the cost they have to pay out of pocket as opposed to, what is it now, 6, 7, 8, something like that, on the commercial side. So, we don't want to we're trying to get clarification on their specific policies of if I order it today, but the declaration doesn't come here in 3 days and I've already signed a piece of paper committing to it, is it eligible or did I do that before I was authorized? So it's not eligible, right? So we're trying to get through a lot of those details.
at least it's encouraging.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In the onset, the toughest things about this job is kind of managing the expectations, right? And so we talked a lot, at least with leadership, that, this is going to be uphill on all accounts for the federal disaster aid programs. But things are going well and getting at least the individual assistance and SBA turned on will have some benefit to folks. Now, will it come in and say, okay, you lost, $150,000 house, so let us just write you a check and you can move on. That doesn't happen. That's not what the program does. But it will help fill some gaps.
Did, just to the water plant, didn't they just rebuild that just a couple of years ago?
I'm not sure what they've done on that. I know that, they had made plans and they
Sewage treatment.
could have been the sewage treatment plant they were doing work
Maybe
at.
they're doing both too.
They could have, I'm not clear on that.
Both of them, and got it to still paying for that, and now they got.
Well, they had a big street project going on.
Right.
When this happened,
Right.
it's gonna have to be delayed now, and, because they know they're gonna have unbudgeted expenses no matter what happens, especially if we don't get that public assistance through the FEMA side to reimburse some of the response and permanent work costs. So we're gonna try and do our best to document everything we can document to give a good old college try at getting that program turned on, but it's gonna take every one of us. So even our departments that had for example, just today, kudos to David Byer in IT. He says, here's what I got. They had $300 some maybe to replace some hardware out at the Avoca courthouse that got fried, in the storm and some mileage for personnel. Not enough as an individual department to write their own worksheet through FEMA if they turn that on, but it's a number that contributes to the overall big picture because I think our per capita threshold for this county equates to just under $500,000, somewhere around 430 to 460,000. I think it's like 430, right? So we have to hit that threshold as a county, but then we've got a statewide threshold that we have to hit too, which is, around that 5 million mark, without looking at the actual numbers. So it's gonna be tough to get there, because we've got 7, 8 counties impacted by the tornadoes of April 26th. We're the, the most impacted, and the others, have a far less degree of damage, and response costs than us at this point. So it's gonna take everybody getting their information in as soon as they can to make this happen because the state wants to move rapidly. We've only got 30 days. The state only has 30 days to make the formal request of FEMA from the date of the incident. So keep pushing.
Do I understand that the grocery store is open again? Is that right?
Yeah, it was open. I think they had that open last week, when, before we even left. I can't
How
remember.
about gas? Is there any gas being sold in
Casey's
Casey's
got
and
turned
Minden?
on. Casey's got turned on either the Sunday or Monday right after the tornado. It was one of the first circuits that, Mid-America, one of the prime circuits gave them power to, like their lift station, the fire station, and then that line went up and powered up Casey's. So that was kind of a target priority to get that thing turned on. So
And
people
then
could,
is Minden residents receiving their mail? How does that process work out?
you know, I haven't double checked on the post office operations, to be honest with you. I haven't heard nothing about it.
Yeah,
So,
I heard the post office was open.
yeah, I know they've done some stuff downtown to where they could do some of those things and where they could also, you know, the pharmacy was saying, hey, your prescriptions are ready. We'll be there from this time. So come grab them real quick and
So,
that.
so through all the damage, life is getting back to normal then,
Yeah.
basically.
They're getting there. Everybody that can take water, you know, or electricity is, to their properties, those kind of things. There's, you know, through their insurance process, some properties are already being demolished or have been. And, you know, even in some areas, like if you've noticed on Highway 92 on the north side of the road, they got new lumber sitting there getting ready to
Yeah.
roll,
I saw that.
you know, and so yeah, there's a lot of things moving.
There's a lot of little things you don't think of. I never thought of the mail system or. So,
I know this isn't your department, but from an observation standpoint in Minden, are they working on the road construction for the road that's closed out to the interstate? Are they able to do that, or has that all been shut down?
there's just one section that's shut down, so you can get around and out. There's access. The road closed signs that were up by Casey's, that had nothing to do with the construction. Those were what we put in for the response to help keep the community secure, in the first, you know, so many days post-event. So, but you can go down to where that road construction starts and, you know, turn and go down kind of the Main Street area.
But are the construction crews actually working on the road?
Not that I've seen, but I haven't been there every day since we pulled out the command vehicle.
I'll follow up with John on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're working on that.
Before you close.
Go right ahead.
A couple quick questions for you. In the email that, you sent this morning, it mentioned that low interest loans.
Mhm.
Is there any opportunity for those residents to get grants, state loans?
Yeah, so SBA does the.
No, I'm talking about individuals. Oh,
That's what I'm trying to answer here.
oh,
So,
okay.
so they have access to both. So the loan side of it's not through FEMA, it's through Small Business Administration. Right? And then the FEMA assistance that's available are grants. So they're
Okay, that's
not loaned. Now, prior to, I think, October, the rule always was that before you get any FEMA assistance, you had to apply for an SBA loan and either get something that then would come off of what you were eligible for under FEMA, or if, you know, that wasn't possible, then you could still do FEMA. The FEMA has changed their policies now so that you don't have to apply and try and get a loan first before you apply for FEMA assistance. So as I understand it, they run independent of each other now instead of one being a precursor to the grant side of the house.
Second question is also in that email that you sent. You didn't seem too optimistic that the, will meet the level of damage to get reimbursed for the county.
On the public assistance side, yes.
What,
That kind of goes to the threshold numbers that I talked about.
do they ever, is there anything in there that would just solely look at the city of Minden? Can they qualify as a small city?
I really wish they could, but that's not how the program is developed right now. That's kind of why, you know, we try and communicate even to the smallest department with the smallest costs, like, David and his crew in IT, turning in an amount like that. I mean, it's obviously not much, but it kind of counts and helps us get to that threshold. And that's really why it's important. It's even why when we have events in the region and we're not really impacted that much, I still ask for that, knowing that we're not going to get any assistance, but our numbers help get to that statewide threshold that can help a Mills County or a Cass County on the backside too, if they've been impacted more than us. So it's really going to be a team effort to make it happen. If we get somewhere close to our threshold, there's always the chance, and the option that the state can make that request anyway, even if we don't make the state threshold. But it's going to go through a lot of validation and a lot of scrutiny for us to get there. And we'll have to show a lot of those community level impacts that have cascading effects into the future to make the case that this is warranted, right? And so that's what we're trying to prep right now. That's why the state sent one of their recovery specialists down here to have some conversations and sit next to me and try and work through this process. Kind of developing kind of a bullet sheet, for like Minden and some of the areas, say, hey, consider these things when you're reporting your stuff, because these will help us hopefully get to where we need to be to get that program turned on.
Will we be able to include loss of tax revenue in any of those numbers?
Not in the physical numbers, but we certainly want to show that as part of our impact statements. Kind of those cascading term effects that could cause future problems down the road. We certainly want to bring those things out, and some of the things that we've been discussing in particular with Minden to make sure that they try and kind of hypothesize and capture, right? Even down to, okay, if we don't get this, how many businesses do you think will just say, can't afford it on a traditional commercial loan, right? And so we're just done. Same thing on the properties, but how do you feel about some of your property owners, if they're underinsured, not insured? What's the viability of them rebuilding or something like that, or just saying, juice ain't worth the squeeze and we got to get out. So we're trying to really look at that, but those are hard things to pin down. You're never going to have, the answer, but we can at least characterize the potential. And that will hopefully help us get to.
Did Minden do what we did in the rural part of the county, allowing temporary mobile structures to come in and hook up to?
I don't think they're there yet, just because there's been so much debris to deal with, right? Before they get to that point, I know they do have a city ordinance that you can't have, storage containers on your lots, and obviously under the authority that the mayor has, under a proclamation for the city, they've allowed that so people can store stuff while they demolish or repair and those kind of things. But I don't think they've really gotten to that point of discussion yet.
Not living yet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gonna be your new home.
What's that?
You're gonna be your new home. You gotta put an address out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Well, thank you very much, Doug. We appreciate all of the efforts of you and your staff and all of the boots on the ground across the county. Is there any one thing or anything that you need action from the board on?
Not right now. There may, as we get into maybe some of our discussions for long-term recovery here in the next week or so and get that coordinated, because you're obviously going to have a vested interest in that as well. So we'll be trying to put that together after we knock off some priorities here the rest of this week, beginning next week. I tapped our federal legislators yesterday to say, hey, this FEMA request is sitting at the White House, hint, hint. So if you know anybody in DC, give a call or do something, or at least check in on it, right? So I know they were looking at that. If you're able to make it out to the resource center tonight, it's important at times, not overloading, but it's important, for people to be able to speak with their elected officials during these times too. So that invitation was made to you and our state folks and federal folks as well. So if you can make it, great. If not, not a big deal. We're still doing it. But hopefully we'll see some folks turn out for it.
Okay, and it's at the ski hills. It's not at Hitchcock. It's at the ski hills.
Are you still opposing out of Minden?
No, we're working and out of the regular EOC.
So you moved your vehicle back out? of
Yeah.
there?
Yep, we've got, because preparedness never ends, so we've got that backup 911 center project going with 911, so we gotta try and find a opportune time that can go get some of that work done to it, and it needed rehabbed, and here, as soon as we get done with you, I'll be on my way to a school emergency exercise before we head up to Crescent tonight, so.
Cool.
So from conservation, is there anything you guys would like to add to the recovery effort? I know you've been providing lodging.
Yeah, we did. We had some people at Arrowhead. I don't think we have anybody there right now. I think they all found housing or found other means. We do have a family up at Hitchcock. And we're gonna be working with them to try to figure some stuff out. And I think we have some volunteers that are up in the campgrounds up at Hitchcock that are staying there, so.
Matt, is there anything you want to add from planning and zoning and what you're seeing and hearing? And
We've just been working with the contractors and the property owners as they come in and getting permits issued for them, getting them back ready to go.
You got any idea how many permits you issued?
It's only been, maybe a handful, and it's more of the roofs. So nothing major reconstruction yet, because, that's gonna take planning time from them, and they'll have to find, what are they gonna design out to build? All of those things. A lot of people have been coming in about their outbuildings and, utilizing plans that they had used originally to construct them. So, we're finding we're going online, finding a lot of those, because even though you don't have to keep residential plans, we scan them into Tyler or TMC. So we're able to go back in and pull them back out for them. And then if they just want to reuse them to reconstruct that building, we've been doing those, but probably maybe 10.
thank you.
Can we grab those values too?
We,
Add them to the,
on the permit,
no, besides the permit, the rebuilding of the structures.
no, not for the public assistance side, because
No,
it's private property.
can't put any,
So any,
no frosting on the cake, huh?
no. I mean, we can always try, but they'll say no. That one I can answer for sure. So,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for staying.
Got our fingers crossed. Let's see.
Right. No action needed there. Next up, Stacy Kenny, Executive Director of WIDA.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Wow.
Oh, wow, follow that, right. Anyway, Michael is here with me today and he's put together a presentation. And Mitch, on that presentation, if you just want to kind of keep the slides moving, there's no specific order for these. As you know, I was here in December and we were granted $50,000 and we'd like to express, gratitude for that. I'm here today just to give an update of where WIDA has been active in engaging in the rural Potawatomi County events. We have promoted over 130 community events, celebrated 8 ribbon cuttings with another one this week at the Hitchcock Nature Center on Thursday. We are still working on our actual budget. We will have more of a current, accurate figure towards the end of the year. I've been with WIDA since last September, so we still have a few things that we're fine tuning. But our current numbers with the city of Potawatomi County funds stand at $62,577.50. Once Avoca renews, we will be at 66,837.50. Just to give you a little briefing, on our business memberships, in May of 5 of 2022 to 5 of 23, we stood at 1,060 business memberships. Starting in January, when I started really getting out into the market and like building that partnership within small businesses, we are now standing at $6,000. So we definitely have made a big, vast of improvement being out there in the rural areas and letting people know what we do. Or WIDA, we're out here to help promote. This past May has been very active. Avoca last week had a meet and mingle along with 2 ribbon cuttings with 2 new businesses. One of them was a House of Color, and they have actually inquired Megan to become a WIDA member. So that's exciting. Judge Richards in Carson held a Derby celebration at the barn with a soft lunch of their bourbon, and it's making a big splash in the market. It's really blowing up. Last Sunday was Pack the Grandstand in Macedonia. Saw Melvin there, and over 300 people attended that. The artist Zach Jones will paint a mural in Macedonia. Today, I'm heading up to Minden. I'm teaming up with Shalimar at Advanced Southwest Iowa. We'll be at the city clerk's office, just assisting anyone in need. We've also started a trusted contractors spreadsheet, just for anybody that might not know of who to use in the times of this devastation. I'm also going to be attending later today a TS Bank nonprofit marketing for a cause event. And I think Susan and Michael will be joining on that as well. I'm working with Michelle Franks on the Rural Summit schedule along with Advanced Southwest Iowa. That will be held in Avoca in September. Last year, they had over 80 people join. And it's really great thing that brings awareness to what's going on within the communities. Also working on, I gave everybody one of the rural passport programs. The occasional collective audit trainer kind of spearheaded this program up, but we've all come together with the Council Bluffs Tourism Committee, Advanced Southwest Iowa, and WIDA. TS Bank is also looking to come on board, and we're going to be talking with Kelsey later today on that. Let's see. Oh, and I also met with John McCurdy. He is with SWIPCO. Susan lined up a meeting with that with Michael and I regarding a possible bus tour during those months when the tourism passport will be held. June 5th marks 10 years for the Avoca's Farmers Market. They have a lot of great things happening on that day. So today in Trainer starts the Farmers Market. So a lot of promoting going on. Just wanted to thank everybody for your continued support, and Michael might want to add to just a little bit of an update.
Well, they're all interconnected. It's when you talk about the county, you can't talk about one town without the other. The devastation, the president of WIDA is Kevin Zimmerman. And, you know, Friday night hit with the tornado and I was on the horn right away. So was Ron. And Ron is another member of in Shelby, the mayor of Shelby, with Kevin, even within hours of, you know, and not even knowing. The one thing we all knew is there wasn't a whole lot until you assess, and that's what Doug was talking about. But within a matter of a week, I sent, and several did, I'm not gonna take credit because, but this is the way small towns work. We sent crews from Trainer, you know, up to help with the big equipment because that's what they would need. And in fact, I hesitated on anything because what happens in time of disasters and tornado, and unfortunately, I'd have to say, you know, we've all, if you're old enough, we've been through a couple of them in our lifetime in that. And Minden went through their second round. I understand quite well from 76. So we sent crews up. I know Ron sent crews over from Shelby. Neola jumped on the bandwagon. I talked to Tyler over in Avoca. It's the same thing. All the towns are doing their best. But the one thing we told Kevin, we aren't going to come until you say come, because it's going to be a little bit of a disaster trying to get everybody in at the same time. And so Doug did a nice job, and trainers reached out. We certainly are eligible with the center. We said we would bring anything in. Neola took more of the front of that. So a lot of these small towns really jumped forward, which I thought was just fantastic and was well needed, because if you guys know Kevin well enough, pretty emotional. I mean, when these things happen, no matter what, it was a pretty emotional time, and we all have a lot of support in helping that. In fact, I had an event on Saturday following the tornado, and the thing was being catered by Minden Meat Market. Well, I already knew, Friday night came around, we were in the basement of our house and that, watching it fly by trainer on the outside edge. And we too have a brand new wastewater treatment facility that you guys quite well know about. A little concerned, what happens when a tornado hits a facility that's under construction? And we've already spent $2 million in this and that. But so I was looking at the paperwork and that, and a lot of those things, Scott, you were talking about with the Minden, they're already under some type of special contract with the construction and stuff like that. So not necessarily you're going to get hit twice of any of those things. Did you get that PDF? I was going to show you the first one. I think it's important that, at least for the county, to see the first slide that shows Susan's wonderful face, not mine. I don't want to say that, because there's a lot of faces on here that were the events that were just happening. And most of these are all slides since the last presentation. So you look at that time frame. We're only talking the last 2 to 3 months. This was a great event. This was the Rural Summit for Iowa. This was held in Ames, and Susan, as a representative of, but not only local small town America in Iowa, but also for the county, for Potawatomi County, was there, and Stacy. But what was important about that is you'll see Shalimar in there, as well as the faces of Macedonia and Rachel and several of the others that came to showcase what they have. And in the Rural Summit, it's showing what's the best of the best about Iowa in the rural areas and that. And Potawatomi County was certainly well represented and certainly well thought of in all of the presentations. And I think we had a very lively discussion. And I think that's important for WIDA to have that presence and showing just what we have to offer. It's not about, all the things that we don't have. You got to take your assets and show them what we do have. So I thought that was extremely important. Little side note, just for it's going to come out in the news. I don't know when, don't know how, but I was in a meeting with Southwest administrators the other day, and I was up in Denison. And Jessica is the administrator up there, and she ran across a photo in one of they have what I would call these planters. They have a factory up there in Denison that makes these for municipalities. And so they got plenty of planters all over Denison. If you haven't been up there lately, it's planter after planter after planter all over. She was outside and pulled up this picture and put it out over the Facebook and said, does anybody know what this is? Well, this made its rounds through several people, through several connections, and it finally got back that it was a photo from the Rainy place on the tornado on 92. And that photo had traveled in the air to Denison. So when you hear these things about Dow City and stuff like that, you're now getting firsthand, you'll hear that story. And I believe it was Chris Rainey. Okay, then someone's going up to get that picture and bring it back, and it'll be a story about how widespread these tornadoes actually did not only the damage, but carried things just all over. And I know you're going to hear more and more about that. So, but particularly about WIDA, like I said, I really just sit there and want to sit there and thank Stacy for all the work that she's done. Kevin and I have been fighting a battle for about 5 years through transitions, and of course Susan and Brian are now on since the last couple of years to help. And I don't want to say move the mark, but I think that's what you got to look at. You ask what WIDA can do, what WIDA's doing. I think we're moving that needle to what we want and what we expected WIDA to do. And that was to promote the area, and relationships are important for her to be able to work with not only Iowa West Foundation, but to look at Shalimar and look at the foundations and look at Donna Dostal, because immediately upon all these things, even with the tornado, everyone wants to help. So all these organizations came together, and WIDA is going to be a big part of that, helping rebuild in its own way anything Minden can, what they're gonna need, what's gonna help them. You talk about businesses. No, it's not the organization to provide money. I mean, we all know at FEMA. Susan signed off on the very last FEMA paperwork as an ex-city administrator for an area, you remember the flooding? I just signed off, that's 5 years later, 6 years, 5 years? So FEMA is slow. Slow. And that's all I'm gonna say. I wish Doug the best, and we're gonna work on but this rebuilding in Minden's gonna be not just now, it'll be years and years, so. That's about all I've got to add. Appreciate Tim coming to the Optimist meeting the other day and that, and of course Jeff is a regular. We get to see him there, so it's always nice to have the presence. And Tim, I thought it was well received, and appreciate everything that you do, and told you then, I'll tell you now in the public meeting here, that we appreciate everything about the Board of Supervisors and what they're doing in the rural areas, even though you get emails and letters and sometimes saying they don't appreciate you. I will publicly say I do.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Can you guys, I guess, tell me, are we still working with, trying to work with the city of Underwood in that possibly?
Yes, we are.
And the other one, it looks like up here should be Brian's territory.
I'm working on Brian as well.
Crescent.
Yeah,
We were a member the whole time I was mayor, and I was very active in it. So
I've been in
What
touch
happened?
with the city clerk quite often, Jody Shea.
Hunting Creek might always be a challenge.
so we love that.
That is a mistake on there.
Maybe
That's
that.
supposed to be Neola. That was not updated.
Susan quite well pointed that out to us right away, and that, and of course, I just put it up there and I didn't
Yeah.
notice right away, so, but, yeah.
Brenda, I can forgive.
Minden,
Yes, I can forgive them.
they are a member.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, Minden's a strong member. I'll give Minden all the credit in the world, even now, even through all this, they're a strong member of WIDA.
oh, yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Stacy.
Stacy, thank you
Thanks,
very
Michael.
much.
East and West Region on your passport program.
Yes, okay, so the passport program was put together by the Occasional Collective. We're just
Yeah,
help
where are your
spearheading it.
Where are your regions? You need 5 passports from each region.
I'll have to figure that out. Next time, maybe she can come in with me and she knows more
I
about
didn't
the
know.
program.
Okay, so that's just part of that program. There's no
Yes.
East and West WIDA.
No,
Right, no.
Didn't think so.
we have not separated by any fence, east and west WIDA.
I think maybe
I don't want to do that.
was not good.
There's
People to
no
move.
reason.
from
Throughout.
Macedonia, maybe go throughout the county.
No,
Yes.
That's where that gate, you have stuff.
White has really stepped forward since you've been appointed director,
Thank you,
Stacy, and I
Steve.
really
I'm
appreciate your work
enjoying
there.
it.
Really good out in communities.
You have great support. Thank you.
And for the record, Tim, you were stuck with me because Kevin did offer to come from Minden. We told him, no, you got far more things to worry about than the meeting and that, so you were just stuck with me again.
It's always good to see you, Michael.
Thank you, everyone.
Kevin's got his hands.
Thank you.
That's one more thing. So you can go ahead.
Okay, very good. I'm gonna go to Minden, actually.
I think there was one more thing I was gonna stick around, and just listen.
Bye, Stacy.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Drive safe. All right, next up, Mark Shoemaker, Director Conservation, and Jeff Franco, Chief Deputy Conservation, and Mitch Kai, Chief Financial Officer. Discussion and or decision to authorize the chairperson to sign a repayment agreement between the Board of Supervisors and Conservation.
Yeah, this is a agreement we wanted to establish for the repayment of the capital improvement loan for Mount Crescent. When the board committed funds, it was always the intent of the Conservation Board to repay those funds. And I think this document kind of sets those parameters, not only for the Conservation Board, but for the Board of Supervisors, so we kind of know what to expect going forward. And if Jeff and Mitch have anything to add, or if y'all have questions, or if you don't want to sign it and just let us keep all the money, that's fine too.
This doesn't prohibit you to continue to try to find grant opportunities, does it?
No, I don't, no, it won't.
No, it wouldn't. Okay. So, you know, the funds, regardless of where they sit, they're still owned by the county, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I make a motion to approve this agreement.
Second.
Got a motion by Shay and a second by Belt. Is there additional discussion?
I'd say one thing, and just gratitude for the support that that place has received. It's put Mount Crescent in a tremendous position just to be able to repay this as well.
The attendance says it all.
Right.
Just like Hitchcock and the other parks. They're busy. If you're out at those parks, every one of our parks is just busy.
Man.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. All right. Next, Jana Limerick, Director, Human Resources, and Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Development, discussion and or decision on approval of modification to environmental help intern position. Making some changes to a job description or adding.
Yes, making changes to the job description. So I'll start, Matt, then you can jump in. We'd like to change this from an intern position to a seasonal position. We don't feel that the position needs to have anything tied to someone getting a degree or needing college experience. We could really reuse it as a seasonal position. Matt has updated the job description. It will primarily be doing percolation testing, and Matt can add more to that if he would like to. Percolation testing.
Well, it'd be, what it had entailed before was it included the pools, tanning and tattoo inspection contract that we do with Iowa, with IDOLS, I think it is now, because it changed the state. And we've dropped that portion of it out. We really just need somebody in the office to help out with percolation testing and the water testing portions of this. Percolation testing determines what the size of your lateral field is going to be for a septic system. So you drill 3 holes in the ground and down to 36 inches, you throw some rock in the bottom of them. We got tubes with floats and rulers on them that stick and poke out the top. You got to soak them for a period of 4 hours. And then after that 4-hour soaking, then you take measurements from that. So it takes one of my staff members off the grid all day to go do one perk test. Now, the only other people who can do perk tests are engineers. And so there are some engineers out in the county that do them, but we try to stay in that middle pricing for them. We're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive, we're just right in the middle. We're just meant to be able to help fill in some gaps when needed. But it is a service that is needed in Potawatomi County. And you know, this year will be especially needed as people start to rebuild. The majority of them will not be able to hook back onto their septic system that is in the ground now. You will have to, as they rebuild their house, they'll have to update their septic system.
Why won't they be able to do that?
That's due to a state code change that was done in 2009. So, and that's at the state level. And very well, it may have predated, some of those ones out there may predate 1960. And so they weren't done to a code. We don't have a permit on them. Or if they were done anytime in the 70s, potentially early 80s, we may not have permits on them. And then so everybody's just kind of guessing on what's actually in the ground out there at this point in time. So new septics will have to be installed. There's going to be an influx of perk tests that need to be done. And having this, if we get a seasonal person in there, you pay them a little bit less, it makes financial sense then at that point in time for this person to be able to be out there and do that. It's a little bit harder when you're paying somebody $30 an hour to have them go out there and sit and do this perk test. So that's why, and on the intern side of it, we've struggled for the last few years actually trying to find a college student or somebody who would take this position. And we didn't even have it filled, I think, for the last 2 years. I don't believe we were able to fill the position. So hopefully by making it a seasonal position, it's a great opportunity for a retired individual who wants to come back and do some things over the summer that they can kind of go out there and you kind of set your own schedule up and fill your perk tests, fill your week up with perk tests and do as many as we can.
So all of that wildwood and those ones out there on Wilshire and all them are probably getting to age where they're needing to do something with them.
Those are the areas that we struggle with septics in those areas. I mean, they still do, even if you struggle with room, you still have, even if you're gonna put in an advanced system as a filtration system with a UV light, you still have to do a percolation test first. So,
It still has to be done.
yeah, because you have to prove that the ground isn't suitable to absorb that amount of water.
Nobody heard, or septic installers should not do any of that without getting a permit and perk test being passed. Is that-
Correct. Some people may think that Potawatomi County has been notoriously strict on the septic ordinance and regulations that go with that. We are for a reason. Our neighbors to the south, Mills County, just when I started back with the county in 2007, had just gone through a lawsuit where a group of residents came back and sued the county for not enforcing the septic regulations to the state standard, and they won. And so I believe it was around 2.5 million, it might even been $5 million that Mills County had to take and put off into an account, and they had to then pay for all of these residents to get new septic systems. And that was kind of done by part of what you call, they used to call it the coffee shop percolation test when they used to allow the installers to do the percolation test. So, I mean, you get them in and all of a sudden your percolation test had coffee stains all over it because they did it while they're sitting there drinking their morning coffee and just filled out the paper. And that's why we require engineers to do the percolation testing and or a trusted county employee to do them as well, to make sure that the residents are getting what they need. And even as they're coming in and people are going to add bedrooms and things like that on their project, when, they're going to do an addition at that, we try to caution people at the beginning, they will put in just a very bare minimum of septic, but if you got plans within 5 years, you should probably think about adding that next bedroom now, because you're not gonna be able to come back in and add it later. So they'll come back in and they'll say, well, I'm gonna add that 5th bedroom. Now you gotta put in a whole new septic system again. And they're not getting any cheaper. Inflation's definitely hit that market.
Is this a hourly position?
This is an hourly position. As Matt said, we haven't had anyone in this position since 2021. When we had someone in the position in 2021, the pay rate was $15.82. We're asking for a range of $16 to 18 cents. And part of
$16 to 18 cents.
$16 to $18, yes. And part of that reason is we took a lot of the job requirements out and a lot of the duties out to really specify on this specific task.
Well, since I didn't see the change in the job description, Matt, what are the qualifications on this position?
High school diploma
So,
and the ability.
Say that again?
It's a high school diploma, and then of course you have to pass a back screen that goes up to 75 pounds, I believe it is. It's a pretty rigorous
this
back
person's
screen.
just gonna be able to assist. They're not gonna be able to do percolation.
No, the way our ordinance is written is that it's either a professional engineer or a trusted county employee. So, the county employee does them on their own.
They'll be able to be trained by somebody.
Correct, we train them.
Are we doing any now?
Yeah, we are doing some now, yes.
Who does them primarily?
It's between Tracy and Alex, our environmental.
There's a firm out there that, I don't know if we've hired them or builders. The septic installers hire.
So the septic installers are usually the ones that will call for the percolation testing, and they have, a lot of them will use Tim Matula.
That's who I was looking for.
Yeah, he's about your most on demand. If you need a percolation test like now, we usually refer them to Tim Matula, and we can do them, but it takes us about a week to schedule them out. So
What is our charge?
I believe we're up to $450.
That's needed for reinstalls also, right?
Correct. Yeah, once that ground's disturbed, the percolation test is no longer valid.
How many employees do you expect to hire?
One.
One.
Budget man,
It is, yes.
any grants for this position?
I don't believe so.
We just got grants for closing stuff up. So, wells and.
We do have grants to help rehab wells and close up old cisterns, yes. And in the past, we did get a NACCHO grant that we had people in doing this off of, yeah.
This is seasonal.
It is seasonal, yeah, so,
Will the chance of it becoming permanent?
no, because it's a perk tests are seasonal, right? You can, once the ground freezes, you can't do them. And so that's really the goal behind it.
What's the official title for this position? Environmental.
We're taking the word, seasonal environmental health. You didn't get a copy of the job description? You didn't? Yeah,
Would not like you, Jen.
I'd be surprised too. Environmental health seasonal. Oh, you're not taking intern out. What's Tracy's or Alex's title? Technician. Environmental health technician seasonal.
Well, I certainly don't have any problem.
That's second.
Thank you.
So we have a motion by Jorgensen and a second by Shay to approve the modification to environmental health technician seasonal position. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried.
Are you posting this, Janet?
Yes,
When?
yes, today.
Do you have anybody in mind for this position?
I don't. I'm hoping that we get some good candidates.
Well, now's the time to post it. School's getting out.
Yeah, we got a lot of interns showing up. We got 2 of them already.
Good.
Unpaid, so
That's fine.
they are.
Right. Committee appointments. Anybody have any updates from last week?
I do. I went up to the CNR levy to see how they were doing. And they're, going across the road. They're, for some reason, that soil that we moved in there is very wet. Oh my God, they were really struggling with that. And, pardon?
Been raining.
Yeah, but not, last week it hadn't rained that much and they were down in the pile quite a ways.
Oh.
But they were working through it and, making progress. They're damaging the road a little bit, but that was to be expected. And then, I was at a VA meeting, Board of Health, and, then yesterday I went to 712's open house at their 109 or 1009 High Street. And I just want to say them guys really done a nice job on that house, rehabbing it, bringing it back.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also at the Veteran Services get together. Very much appreciated.
Mhm.
My part. Also is actually, it's 1009 High Street.
1009. Yeah, 10th and high, whatever.
Yeah, and I was also impressed with what they did. You know, that house was, I think, 1887.
That's what they said.
Yeah, constructed and what they did, renovate it and get it up to par. It's impressive.
And they had squatters in there when they got it.
Oh.
They had before and after pictures. Oh my goodness, what a mess. But they done a heck of a job there.
Great. Public comments. Did anyone sign up for public comments?
No.
No.
With that, Susan, I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5, parent 1, parent J, for discussion and or decision on the purchase or sale of real estate.
Second.
Motion by Wickman, a second by Shay to go into closed session. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman, Jorgensen, Bell,